Now today on the Business Roadshow, we have on the program mining and infrastructure solutions provider Orica Philippines, which offers a range of services to pioneer safe and more sustainable mining solutions. Here to talk to us more about the firm and the local mining industry is its country head, Gordon Wallace. Hi Gordon, welcome to the Business Roadshow.
Hi Stanley, and thank you very much for having me.
It's good to have you here now. We see a mining rebound actually in the Philippines if you look at gross domestic product and its contribution. Now, how bullish are you that mining will continue to grow in admirable strides, if you will?
I think there's a lot to be positive about for the Philippines mining industry. I think in fundamental terms, we're the fifth most mineralized country in the world, but particularly strong in the critical minerals that are going to be required for the world to complete the green energy transition. At the end of the day, if you look at the current forecast for demand, along with what's forecast to be supplied, there is a really significant gap in supply, both in what we're currently mining today, but as well if you add all the future deposits in as well, there's still a wholesale gap in supply. So I think in fundamental terms, the Philippines is very well positioned to try and bring projects on that can help fulfill that gap. And push us towards the green energy transition that's needed. So I think that's at a macro level, we're very positive. More local towards the Philippines, I think there's been some fantastic momentum that started to build in the mining industry. I think it started with the lift of the moratorium banning open pit mining. I think with that being lifted, gave the industry a bit of positivity and some confidence to start making some more medium-term capital investments. Previously, we were very much in survival mode, investing just in that couple of year horizon. But since then, since the lift of the ban, we've seen a bit more capital start to come into the mining players and start to look towards more medium-term expansions and get a longer-term view.
So. All right. You mentioned about gaps now. Would you mind sharing with us what's causing it? Maybe some of the challenges would include government policy, but aside from that, what else is keeping the mining sector in the Philippines from taking off?
I think that in mining anywhere in the world it's a super tanker, not a speedboat. The average mine site takes at least 7 years to get off the ground. That timeline is increasing every year. And they require very large capital investments, up to and over $1 billion US. And so to be able to get one of those projects off the ground, you need to be able to demonstrate a lot of consistency so that the capital is attracted enough to invest for that sort of time horizon with that sort of money. We're starting to see some progress, as I said, particularly after the ban of open pit mining. But I think the best thing that we all need to be doing is demonstrating that consistent operating environment. And so we're starting to build some of that momentum and seeing some small investments come in. And then hopefully that's going to lead to some changes down the line. And some of the bigger undeveloped projects will look to come onto the table and start discussions.
All right, Gordon, now you see the mining growth also comes with a cost, and those against it might say these costs are environmental or even social in nature, with calls for this industry to become more responsible at the very least. Now, is responsible mining really doable, and are you seeing more mining companies being conscious or even deliberate about responsible mining or sustainable mining? It is, after all, a delicate balance.
It is, and you're very right, Stanley. I think sustainability in mining operations these days is essential. It's not a choice anymore. And so we're seeing a huge shift towards the way mines are operated and the focus that is getting placed on community engagement and responsible initiatives. I think in the Philippines there are some fantastic examples of world-class operations that would be at home as a top-tier operation in any jurisdiction around the world. So we don't necessarily have to look outwards to see that best practice, because it really is happening here in the Philippines today. So the Masbate Gold Project is a world-class operation that has amazing responsible and sustainable initiatives that are in place. Likewise, other projects around the Philippines do as well. So looking forward to that being shared amongst the industry and seeing that become the new norm in the Philippines moving forward. So.
All right. Now, Orica is a solutions provider, of course, that pushes not just for responsible but sustainable mining. Tell us a bit about what you do, Gordon.
Yeah, so Orica is the world's leading mining and infrastructure solutions provider. So our core business is centered around explosives, blasting services, and mining chemicals. But more recently, we've entered into other more novel product lines, such as geotechnical monitoring solutions, and also a suite of digital products that help solve issues for our customers along all parts of the mining value chain. In the Philippines, we established here in 1968 and then commissioned our facility in Lamay, Bataan in 1972.
Right.
And we've operated there continuously there ever since. For the past 50 years, we have supported the mining industry, principally in their blasting and explosives consumption requirements, but more recently, we've started to develop more novel technologies at our Lamay plant.
Yeah.
Recently, we shut down or decommissioned some of our old manufacturing lines that were manufacturing more obsolete products, and we've reinvested ahead of the curve and upgraded our more novel product lines in as much as a 50% capacity expansion, anticipating the growth that will happen in the Philippines in the future. So very much ready to be here for the mining industry and looking forward to it growing.
All right, you said so yourself, Orica's been in the Philippines for half a century now, and you're also present in about 100 or over 100 countries. Your strategic initiatives to responsibly mobilize the Philippines as natural resources and achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. These are your core pillars and your approach as well. How do you intend to get this done?
Yeah, I think that's right. We're currently in the process of making some large investments towards our 2050 net zero goal. Principally, we're focusing at the moment on tertiary abatement at our Kuragang Island facility, the east coast of Australia. Just that one initiative alone reduces our carbon emissions from that site by 48%, which actually leads to an 11% reduction in Australia's east coast chemical industry carbon emissions. So there's one action, a very material drop in our carbon footprint, and hence where we're focusing. Moving towards the Philippines, though, we're in the process of completing a project to transition half of our Lamay site's power consumption to solar panels. We're doing that within our own property. The space that we have available is enough to complete 50% of our power consumption into renewable energies. We'll continue to focus on getting the remaining 50%, but given the space constraints, we'll have to look to partner with providers or properties that are outside our own area. So that's what we're doing on our direct front. But in terms of our presence in over 100 countries, I think that really is one of the positives that Orica does bring to the table. We're fortunate enough to have that very vast footprint where we can take best practice that we're seeing or that we're learning from or being a part of in all those other countries and bring them to the Philippines as the mining industry starts to grow here. We're fortunate with that 50 years of history that we've had a very great team. That's been with us for a long time, and some of those people are now working in our subsidiaries all over the world. We're looking forward to them coming back to us here in the Philippines and starting to implement some of those really novel and technologically advanced solutions that they're working on around the world. So.
Yes. Gordon, you work with over 100 countries. It's different per country in the Philippines. I don't know what the mining situation currently is as far as government policy is concerned. Do you think we are too loose or too tight? Incidentally, there are now moves to push for amending the economic provisions of the Constitution. What changes, perhaps, would you like to see in terms of policy and government initiatives to open mining or to at least give investors more options to pursue mining operations in the country?
Yeah, like I said, Stanley, I think the best thing that we could do to support the mining industry at the moment is deliver consistency. I think it's very large scale capital investments, very long time frames, and in order to be able to entice investors into the Philippines, I think we have to be able to provide and demonstrate the consistency in the application of the ground rules. So I think wherever it is around the world, every jurisdiction is different in their mining legislation and how they encourage investors. But the one thing that is consistent amongst the successful mining economies is the consistency in the approach, delivering that guaranteed to investors that you're able to deliver a consistent approach so that capital can be recovered over that long-term period. So.
Lastly, Gordon, we're in the midst of a major change in the way we do things. Technology is a big and important part in that. Now, how is technology advancement now playing a role in making transformational changes in the way we do mining in the Philippines?
I think it's in every operation now, Stanley. I think there is a very large focus on technology and new and novel ideas. As I said earlier, we've completed that 50% expansion on some of our high technology product lines in the Philippines, and we're seeing solid uptake from some of those products here in the Philippines already. So I think the deposits these days are getting more challenging. They're larger, they're deeper, they're more capital intensive, and so there really is no choice but to innovate in order to remain competitive and remain safe and sustainable. So very large demand, I think, going forward, and we'll continue to see the mining houses in the Philippines innovate.
All right. On that note, Mr. Gordon Wallace, country head of Orica PH, thank you so much for this discussion on the future of mining in the Philippines. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Stanley.